Welcome, Denise. So happy to have you, the warrior for women. What an exciting topic it's gonna be. And so this is what I like opening with.
Mhm.
What do you think is gonna be the main takeaway for women entrepreneurs from this video?
Oh, what a great question. Because our conversation can go so many ways, but not but. And one of the takeaways will be you have everything that you need and more within you. It's just untapped, it's sitting there in wait.
I love this. And I am going to really want to dive into why the hell it's untapped.
Uh huh.
Right? And how to tap into it.
Yeah.
But first, what is your definition of sovereignty,
Mm.
especially in the female context?
Sovereignty to me, and I continue to learn and grow around the power of that word. Um, for me, in the context of a woman, in particular in midlife, but women in general, when you, from the depths of your soul, have the power to be totally you and you live it every single day. Because, quite frankly, none of us are at that level yet. It's one of those dreams to be able to fully step into who you are as a person, not through the identity of the roles you have in your life. And as women in particular, I know
Mhm.
people in general, but women in particular, we live our lives through the roles in which we identify ourselves as. Example, people would ask me, "Oh, what do you do?" Right? Not who are you, what do you do? Right?
Mhm.
And so, of course, what you do is you talk about all your roles. Well, I'm a mom, I'm a wife. I even used to have that in my bio. Who am I? I'm the mom, I'm the wife, I'm the principal, I'm the former education. I'm the podcaster now. No, I'm not. That's what I do. That's not who I am, right?
Mhm.
And so for me, sovereignty is to be able to be really clear on who you are as a person. And that takes years and years and years to uncover because we've
Mhm.
layered it forever with all of the things that society has told us what we need to be and do and have, and all of the things that we start to tell ourselves because we believe in that. And so we just kind of, I call it unraveling because I don't want to say dismantle because it's now part of our DNA, but it doesn't define who we are. So for
Mhm.
sovereignty, for me, is when you step into living, being, having, doing your soul truth. And you are the only one who can uncover that. And you do it for you, by you, because of you.
Very cool. And I like that saying when you do it for you, by you, because of you.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool. And so, for the context, what um, what is your work so that people get get the idea of what to expect
For
uh,
sure.
from this conversation?
My work is to connect, listen, and mirror back to the women that I get to converse with and reflect back what I'm hearing, seeing, and feeling. And as a
Mhm.
result, they start to see themselves in a new way.
I love
And
the way you put it.
I love having this gift because it really is a gift that I have. Yeah.
So why do you think it's important to have this conversation?
Oh, it's starting to become wider in terms of people having conversations like this. Conversation, I think, is where it starts because when we don't know what we don't know. So to have conversations like we're having today opens up a door of plants a new seed. Oh, never thought of that before. You know, oh, I look at the definition of sovereignty. Oh, I do things for me, by me, because of me. But do we really? Give us some examples. Tell us what it is that you're doing.
Mhm.
And when people start doing that kind of work, they start to say, well, I actually had somebody that I was working with, and she said, well, I want to go for a walk for me, by me, because of me, but my friend wants to come with me, and I don't want to say no because
Mhm.
then I'm going to shun them and there are going to be problems, but I really want to do this for me, right? So that it still exists, even though we decide we want to do this. When other people want to enter into our time, what do we do? Oh, well, yeah, yeah, it's no big deal. I'll do it tomorrow for me, by me, because of me, right? And so having these conversations starts to plant seeds, starts to allow us to start to contemplate and reflect. Hey, wait a minute. I like what you're saying, but I want to start wondering, getting curious, am I doing this? I think I am. Am I? Start to do that reflection
Mhm.
and you know, self what's the word? Huh, it's floating. It's in there. It's floating.
Mhm. Mhm.
Self reflection and self, discovery, right? Getting curious about things. Yeah.
I can't agree anymore because for me, it dawned on me at some point as well. Like everybody, the entrepreneurship is about freedom. Everybody's creating this freedom, that freedom, whatever freedom, what. And then it dawned on me that it's not even the same so as you know, sovereignty is in the center of what I do as well,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? For a reason, to create that awareness. That's exactly what you are saying, I believe. So that,
Yep.
what really, do you notice this? What I notice is that
Yep.
so many women are not even seeing that there is an issue, are not even seeing why they are in the struggle bubble,
Yep. Yep.
right?
I 100% agree. However, think about this is just an interpretation, but when I think about that's what we have been conditioned to believe is that's what makes us stronger. That struggle makes us stronger. And so we're blinded by, I have to have the struggle. That's what builds me. And what I believe our conversation is about is the struggle takes us further away from ourselves because the struggle is trying to create for the purposes of others instead of for the purposes of oneself.
Yeah, maybe it depends on what the struggle is about, or why was the reason. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe this is something we can try and unpack. I
Yeah.
agree with you completely because so I analyze in my work,
Hmm.
why working harder, for example, it's not actually working for you. It's actually
Right?
working against you because then you
Hmm.
lose who you are and, many other things,
Right.
right? And you don't have the space. It consumes your space.
Yeah.
So you sit there and think like, oh, it happened to me. Like I was like, they tell me just do you. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that sounds so cool. I'm that kind of person who just
Hmm.
wants to do me, but who the hell am I?
Yeah.
What does
Yeah.
it look like?
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that you share that because that's giving permission, but it's such surface level. And what that does, it again, this is how I see it. What that does is release them from responsibility. Hey, I told you to do you. So if it doesn't work, it's not on me. None of it should be on anybody else. We don't. I was recording a podcast last night. We were talking about this exact thing. You cannot make anyone do anything. I learned that, oh boy, 36, 7 years ago in education when I had a group of students and they taught me one of my bigger life lessons in education. I pulled them aside and I was so excited. I had created a special group for them because I saw them all interconnected. And I let them choose the name of their group. And they sat, surprise, surprise, all boys. And they sat and one of them started crying. And I said, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" We're always together. Everybody always sees us only being capable this far. So that lesson has taken me to I never want to reflect back a limitation. That's not my role. My role is to reflect back your possibility. I no longer judge. I pull people in. I allow them to speak what they need to speak, share what they need to share. And I read between the lines with their energy and with their words because they don't always match. And I talk about what I'm seeing and seeing the differences and share how I see what's possible based on everything they've gone through. So I've never been one of those, although I've jumped into, I don't know how many courses I've done in terms of how to run a business, and I've dropped it all because I'm hearing exactly what you heard, right? Just do you. Go on. If you don't feel like going on every day on social media, don't do it. Find their pain points. I'm done with it. That does not resonate for me. That's not who I am. That's not how I share what I give back to the world, right? And
Mhm.
so being able to make those steps forward and just be me is a journey. It doesn't just happen, right?
Mm. Could we dive more into that time
Hmm.
when you realized that you didn't want to follow any advice like that? And
Yeah.
I'm suspecting that it's stemming from your own experience with like even your work probably exists for a reason, for your personal reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great question. And so I didn't just wake up one day and go, aha. It was a slow journey for me because I always believed that people who have done things and have been quote unquote successful, what is success anymore anyway,
Mm.
right? But anyway, done the successful things, course after course. And even when I was in those courses, I should have, and again, I should never should me, but the lesson was, Denise, your intuition, your body, your signals are so strong, girlfriend. Your solar plexus is where everything lives. It always has. And I have finally come to, ah, I'm now just listening to me and tuning into my solar plexus because every time I felt it, but I just went, nope, just pushed it aside. And I'd jump in and I'd spend time and money and resources and energy. And I'd come out deflated, like empty. I can't do this. What's wrong with me? All self talk, not the good kind, right? That's when I started going, wait a minute. What are you doing for you, by you, because of you? Not just the external things by looking after yourself, doing some running, doing, some exercise, that kind of self-care. What are you really doing for you, by you, because of you? And the things that would start to surface is, well, what would you tell your best friend if she were doing what you were doing?
Mhm.
Right? That's
Mhm.
when things started changing. I'm not finished. There is no finish line in my life, I believe, until I take my last breath. So I continue to learn, uncover, discover through beautiful opportunities like this to have conversation with you because I will learn. more things about myself through this conversation.
Mm.
So thank you so much for reaching out. I said something on my live today and I was like, I have to share this because I do get a lot of reach outs and I'm like, oh, I'm done. But this one slipped through and I was like, there's something behind the energy behind it was different, right? Your
Thank
reach
you.
out was, yeah, very different. So thank you. I just got chills.
Yeah, thanks for so glad we connected and we are having this conversation. And by the way, you were saying you were not sure where I was, so I'm in Lithuania in Europe.
Perfect. I was like, I know she's over farther away, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
thank
quite
you.
far. See, on that note, actually, see the way we are talking about something that is in common, regardless of where we are in the world.
Yes.
And also for me, from more context about me,
Yes.
I grew up in the Soviet Union, right? So the whole other aspect of everything. However, these issues are still there,
Yeah.
same issues.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to be connecting with people like you. And there's always, the way you might hear the same thing from different people and get those things differently.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
important. So back to that moment that I remember I was sitting and thinking, okay, they tell me, do you, what
Yeah.
does it look like? I knew in that space where was my power, but I didn't know how to access that place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is there any way that you do it or you can teach or maybe it's not even the right question. I don't know. Maybe there's something else going on. Maybe we shouldn't even try to do it. I don't know. What do you think?
What's what I find works has worked really well for me. Doesn't mean it's going to work for everyone. So when I share what I'm thinking, it's based on my experience, right? And so for me, I tapped back into my childhood to remember what did I love to do without restriction. I just did it as a kid. What did I absolutely love? What was something that I could see was a gift back then, but of course, as a kid, you have no clue. You don't clue into that kind of stuff. You're playing, you're having fun. Um, what came up for me were a couple of things. I was an active child, like too active for my parents, they say many a times, or my father who's passed, but they would, we had to shut the door. We had bells on her baby shoes because the neighbors would see her running down the street because she'd escape on me when I was looking after one of the other, siblings and whatever, right? So I always on the move. Always had to move my body. I still do. When I'm not moving my body, when I'm not looking after myself, when I'm taking a little rest from working out,
Hmm.
I feel it. I know it.
Hmm.
Denise, you're not doing the best for you. And yep, I've made that decision and I take peace with it. This other thing was for me, I read energy without even knowing it. I would see the kids on the playground that wanted to be a part of what was going on but couldn't do it. So I remember a specific instance where I saw this girl and she was against the school wall and I went over but I didn't go too close to invader space. Grade 3. And I just started slowly talking to her and we ended up making a little friendship. Without me interfering, I just had gradual conversation. That's what I still do today. I'm able to make connection with people, give them space and safety to be able to speak as they decide they want to, right? And when I'm in those places in terms of looking after me and connecting with others, I know I'm in my true self and I can feel it. I'm not in here in my head thinking, what do I need to say next? I'm just me. And so that's how I really know. One way for me when I outside world is ah, and I'm like, nope, I'm not okay. I do my forest bath. Let's go for a walk in the woods. Let's go for a walk on the trail and just soak it in because that's always been me.
Mm,
Always got to be through the forest in the green and on the ground. My sister, on the other hand, is a water beach person, which has been very funny for us to recently connect with and have a conversation over that. But yeah, so those, but that's me. I can't say go and meditate. I can't say go and do this or that or whatever. I have to say let's discover together who you are from the deepest past that you have, right? And I do meet up with women who say my childhood was horrid. And we have conversation around that. And as we have conversation, things get uncovered that show, you know what? You had your times that were good for you. You had your happy moments and they did work. And those are the pieces that we get to uncover and play with. Yeah.
yeah, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, okay, so obviously we are talking to mostly to women entrepreneurs. And
Right.
the ones that are trying are working
Mhm.
on creating life on their terms for one reason or another. Some of
Mhm.
them are on a journey to sort of reach higher potential, enjoys creating things and so on. Many women are doing it because of necessity,
Right.
because
Yeah.
because they are in the place where they just need to change their life, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so what I've noticed, and I wonder if it's the same for you, that many women are trying to do things to change their life, but that life for them is so heavy
Yeah.
that it's actually capping their potential, their ability to change anything. And especially, I think for the women who, and you talk about the strong woman's
Mhm.
mask,
Yep.
high achiever, those kind of things.
Yep.
Why do you think that happens for women like that? And how do also, if somebody's listening and thinking, I'm
Mhm.
not sure, am I strong?
Right.
Right? How can they start becoming aware that they
Mhm.
are strong, that they are high achievers, that they are doing too much?
Mhm. It's so complex. I think what's so important is to start looking at your day. Actually start to look at your day. What are you spending time on? And where are your thoughts? Really start to take note on your thoughts. What are you saying to yourself as you go through your day, right? Even if it is a voice note, make a voice note. Oh, I'm thinking this right now. Something as it's simple but complex because it takes time. But if you do that for 3 to 5 days over a 10-day span, for example, and you have it on audio and you put it into text format, there's so much you can do like that anymore. And you look at it, take a look. It's over here now. You can analyze, oh my gosh, what's really going on in my day? I think this, and this, and this. But when you take the thoughts and put them on paper, voice to text, all the stuff, you'll look at it and you will have a new lens that you can look through and go,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, I am nailing it. Look at this. Or, oh my gosh, this part of my day is always a write off. Why is that? And then you start to get curious to explore what's really going on there. What is driving me to be consistent in that, even though I don't want to be consistent in that, you know? So having it out on paper or out so you can see it visually, or if you're an auditory learner, do it auditorily, make your notes. What you're doing is putting a magnifying glass on what's really happening because we think we know what's happening, but boy, when you piece it out, you will get new
Mm,
information, right?
Mm.
And it won't come from, I think, here's the evidence. And then you've got a really beautiful starting point. Yeah.
So how can, so okay, so this is the information gathering stage. Now,
Yes. Yeah.
what if somebody said things, but I have to organize those appointments for everyone, but I have to manage everyone's emotions, but I have to. I remember, I remember, and like me used to
Yeah.
be the last on the list.
Yeah.
I remember I got a voucher for a massage for my birthday once, and
Hmm.
it expired in a year, right? It was expiring in a year. So guess what? I managed to go get that massage a few days before the expiry date,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
There was never time for me,
Hmm.
you know? So how do you transition from gathering that information and
Right.
actually convincing, persuading yourself or looking at it in a, you know, productive way,
Right.
to actually change things?
So, what I think is really important in taking that information and looking at it is do so with a critical lens. If this were your friend telling you, here's what I do every day, and then you ask them, well, what is it that you want? What are you looking for? What is it that's really too much? And you're trying to figure out what it is that you want to change, right? Start looking at if you really want to make a change, you will be able to start making choices. There'll be small steps. We drown if we don't know how to swim and we're thrown in the deep end. I know my parents had
Mm.
stories. That's how you learn how to swim. You used to get thrown in the river. I don't know. I okay, sure, but I don't really think you learned how to swim by being tossed in. You just survived and got to the edge. Good for you. You didn't learn how to swim by being thrown in. That's what we do because we want to fix. We're fixers, we're doers, we solve the problems. Let me come at it from another angle of um, compassion. If your significant other, the person you love the most, your children, whomever, if they come at conversation and tell you they have to fix everything for everybody, what we talked about maybe before was you can't make anybody do anything. You
Mm.
want to help them, you help them by modeling when you give back to yourself.
Mm.
You win and they will win too. Two ways. You will be more whole instead of fragmented and running around and doing all because you're stressed out. You think you're fine. You try to become the duck waiting under the water and nobody sees it. We get what a duck is. So you're paddling and pretending it's not happening. We all see it. We know it happens. And we feel the energy of that in the household. We feel the energy of that in the workplace, whatever's
Mhm.
going on. Imagine if your energy changed because you were more at peace with, you know what? It's not my job to fix everything. It's my job to model looking after me. And when I do, guess what happens? Other people witness and watch. I never used to really look at, I'm like you, I never put myself on the list. My job was to make sure everybody else was okay. When they were, that was my check mark. I did it. Not about me, making sure everybody else was okay. Very common in the world, what women do, right? That way. So I decided close to retirement, I was going to learn how to run. I hated running. Couldn't even walk around a block without breath, like just,
Mhm.
anyway, my lungs are not great, but I decided I was going to do it. So I went into what I always do. I'm a goal setter. So I set the goals, got, apps or whatever to help train me, non-runner to a runner, couch to 5K, whatever. Went to a 10K race, finished it. When I went to go onto the start line, I looked, it was a 2.5 2 hour drive away from our house. My daughter, son-in-law, and grandson, who was just a little over a year and a half at the time, showed up. unbeknownst to me. And I was like, what? Wait a minute. This is weird. You're supposed to be at, what are you doing here? It was weird. And they came, and my son-in-law said something like, "We wouldn't have missed this for the world. This is it's going to tear me up. Um, you are showing us and our grandson, your grandson, what the value is of looking after yourself, and we want that to be
Mm,
a grounding lesson for all of us." I didn't
yeah.
do it for anybody except me, right? Yeah.
So powerful and such a good reminder, actually, to me as well. Like, my daughter is my filter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, if I think in terms of many things, like, in
Yeah.
fact, one of the biggest insights I've received was, would I want this for my daughter? And I at that
Yeah.
time it was about the grind back then,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, if it's so bad, why am I doing this to myself?
Yep.
You know,
And what a beautiful gift.
right? And then also, like, okay, should I go live? Should I not go live? Is it scary? Is it not scary? What would I tell my daughter to do? What would I want my daughter to do?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. And how do you want her world to be supporting her?
exactly.
Right? So these conversations are so, so important because it's not just, well, I think we're living it, we're doing, we are learning into sovereignty. We are leaning into, we are opening doors of conversation in real time about what gets to change. And we're the decision makers in our own lives.
Yeah. So I collect data and I explore the situation that I call beyond equal rights.
Uh huh.
And it seems to me, and would like to hear your thoughts. It seems to me that with the so-called equal rights, women actually received more responsibilities, additional responsibilities, but the old weight of
Mm-hmm.
holding all the four corners, all the thing stayed where it was. So now it's like three shifts kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing going on, right? So now you can have a job, you can start a business, and also do everything else, just
Yeah.
like before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that something you are seeing too?
Um, yes and no. What I talk a lot about is shared responsibilities. And I am absolutely blessed to have married my high school sweetheart, who has been a rock in our family and has been fully supportive in ways beyond just, yes, go and do what you want to do, love, right? He does a lot of, and always has done a lot of the things at the house that need to be done in order for the family unit to be functional and
Mhm.
successful as a collective. And so the past is the past. And what I worry about is women and boundary setting and deciding what they can do and what they can. And it's okay to say, you know what? I can't do all this alone. It's not going to work. I'm going to be in the
Mhm.
hospital. And then I'll be no good to anybody. Like, hello, this isn't going to work for me. But we have to be able to set that up ourselves. And that's very tricky for women in particular to have a voice to say, I'll do the dishes if you want to cook, or vice versa. I'm not doing the dishes and the
Mhm.
cooking and the cleaning and the laundry. I can't do all that and do the work and take kids everywhere. So, having those open, honest communication conversations about how it's working and doing touchstones in between, right? How are you doing? I'm sensing things are not okay. Let's have a conversation.
Mm.
Not good right now? Fair. When can we do this? Because we need to have this conversation. I remember doing a session just before Thanksgiving a few years ago, and that people were like, "Wow, I never thought of that." And it was something I thought, okay, this was very simple, but it's not. It's not normal. It's not natural for women to have, let's say, people help with the meal, right? Something as simple as we're doing potluck, folks. I got this. Everybody else bring other things. Tell me what you're bringing instead of the you doing all of it, organizing it, setting the table, all the stuff. Have your kids help out and do that. They will be honored to be a
Mm.
part of something like that in a sharing of a feast, right?
So, yeah, thanks for bringing that up, the boundaries, I mean. So, I guess a couple of questions. So, first of all, how can women reinforce setting the boundaries? That's one thing. And the other thing is, do you think that's happening like, your Thanksgiving example, because of some strange um, expectation or, or counter expectation and no one can do it well, no one else
Mm.
can do it well,
It's
that
it's a
there is so much responsibility on their
yeah.
shoulders that they are afraid that if something slips, then everything is just gonna collapse or they're gonna be judged by the family or whatever.
So there's lots of levels in that one because the basis of that is about control. If I don't do it all, it's not going to be done my way. And so I can't release it not being done my way. On the flip side of that, out of curiosity, I wonder what positive would come out of it if we had the kids helping with and make it something simple. It doesn't have to be huge. They set the table and decorate it. If you give that to the children to do, can you decorate the Thanksgiving table? What's the worst that's going to happen? It has nothing to do with anybody eating bad food. If that's your big, worry, they're setting the table. And you know what? If if your guests come in or the family come in and they're like, "Wow, who set the table?" and you and the kids say, "Oh, we did it," and they're so happy, what do you think's going to happen? Everybody's
Mm,
going to celebrate.
mm,
Well, why don't you want that celebration vibe in the house instead of, "Oh, you didn't set the table right." There's no right way to set a table. You know, let's not nitpick. Let's let everybody celebrate in the joy of a collective, everybody doing some parts to make it even better, right? And around the boundary piece, I'm trying to remember exactly what your question was on that. You had a really good question, and I
the
was going
re
to,
how to reinforce setting
right.
boundaries.
Reinforce is by sticking to what you say. That's it.
Hmm.
You don't have to push anything at anybody else.
Decide, right. Mm-hmm.
Decide and do. And if you make a mistake, hello, hands in the air. I've done it multiple times. Ooh, that was a little bit too hard of a push of a boundary. It didn't even feel good for me because it was defensive. The reason why we put boundaries in place is to protect ourselves.
And we need to do that. It's not even a
Thousand,
question. I think that's what women forget.
yeah,
This is not even it's not an option,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. And for some, that's really hard. I want to have options, but in reality, that sounds like freedom. Options are freedom, but in reality, the way they're running their lives, they're not giving any options. They're
Mm-hmm.
not opening the door
Mm-hmm.
for options. So there's that reflection piece again. I'm saying I want options. How am I proceeding to allow that to happen? Right? And there are ways, there's language. That's another big piece. I know I talked about the words that we'd use in self talk earlier, but the words we use to quote unquote set boundaries are really important. And they are rooted, if they are boundaries that are appropriate, fair, and from your need, they will absolutely work when you follow through with them, which is
Mm.
really hard to do. So practice with something small,
What could be
right?
what talk to me more about the words.
The words. So, um, can you do this for me? Actually, no, I can't. I'm not available to do that. Ask me next week. If you need a door, right? Ask me next week,
Mm.
right? If you're the one who always does because people ask you and that's your pleaser and so that fills your cup, but in actual fact it doesn't fill your cup. You become broken because the liquid that's going in the cup is too heavy and the cup breaks. But you're the duck and you're underneath paddling away. And the important part, I think, in all of this is, and I mentioned it briefly before, but if you keep saying yes and never put your boundaries in place and don't understand why you're putting boundaries in, boundaries have to be put in to protect you,
Mm.
not to keep others away.
Mm.
And that's a huge shift for us, right?
Mm. Very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So saying no is a complete sentence sometimes.
And as we know, so many women are people pleasers for
Of
one reason
course.
or another.
Yep.
Sometimes it comes from traumas, from
Mm-hmm.
programming in the
Mm-hmm.
childhood. And
Yep.
it can be hard. Is there
Yeah.
any advice you could give how to overcome that?
Um, I think the biggest thing is to recognize that you're not doing boundaries. Some
Hmm.
people think they are, but they're not really. Is
Mm,
when they are quietly in their mind, I'm not going to do that. And then it comes and
that's true, yeah.
I do it, right? So start understanding where are the boundaries non-existent, even though you might think they are. So start to get a clearer picture. It goes back to what we talked about earlier, too, about giving back to yourself. It's so complex because we're, like you said, we're so trained, but start small. Start like with one event, like Thanksgiving was an example. You're having a gathering and you normally look after everything. Open the door of possibility and ask people to bring something. Just start simple, right? In a less stressful situation, a gathering where you're having fun. Derby's coming up, right? Kentucky Derby. Even though, I'm not a US citizen, I'm in Canada, but we still do Derby Day at our house. And the deal is everybody comes dressed up, we have fun. It's a relaxed atmosphere. And so it's a great way to start to practice a boundary. And it could be something as simple as have people bring something for a dessert. You can look after the main if you know you're the foodie in the crowd,
Hmm.
but have people bring a little dessert. And it'll be interesting to see what can happen. You might get a new recipe that you absolutely love. You wouldn't have had a chance prior, right? So the boundary is I'm not doing it all. You do some. Help me
Yeah,
out.
right, I'm listening to you, and I think it kind of reached me in a different on a different
Yes.
level. Awareness,
Yeah.
awareness, awareness is
Yeah.
so important. That's why it's so important to have conversations like that because
Yeah.
there is so much in the blind spot.
Mm-hmm.
I like for me when I realized at some point why I was trying to do everything by myself. And I got programmed for that. When my daughter was small
Mm-hmm.
and I was, all the household. The way it goes for stay-at-home moms who are also running a business, you get everything. They're like, you know what, like you're at home anyway, so you can do
Yeah.
this and you can that, you can do everything, you know. And I remember there was a stretch of time I was so exhausted, like
Mm,
so exhausted. So doing everything by myself instead of, let's say, incorporating my daughter or
mm-hmm.
even her things meant
Mm-hmm.
less mess, less blah blah blah, blah, avoiding certain like wreckage or whatever, so
Yeah.
faster, so I can be done quicker, you
Yep.
know. And then of course I got programmed for that, and I just kept doing
Sure.
everything.
Totally. Totally. Yep. It still happens. Absolutely. Still happens. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so awareness is
Yep.
so needed.
And from the awareness, like we've been speaking, what an opportunity for your daughter to be able to learn how to make some things on her own, but also to learn how to clean up,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can allow and give some skills that she can take into her life as she continues to grow. But if you run around and do it all, you're going to hit that exhaustion. And then when the kids leave and they don't need you the same way, you're going to be like, now what do I do? Because I'm used to doing things for everybody else. And then that's when the real, rubber hits the road and you go, uh-oh, who am I? Because I was so busy before. And,
Mm-hmm.
building capacity with your family to be able to do is incredible. Now, if you're sitting here listening, going, that's great, Denise, but I don't have a family. You have friends, you have connections,
Mm-hmm.
you have people through work. You are, like you had mentioned, Adita, that I did everything. I'm at home. So everybody's like, you can do this and you can do this and you can do this. Get it back to me as soon as you can. No, I don't have time for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to spend 10 minutes having a conversation, brainstorming what you might need to get it done, but I can't do it, right? Give them an alternative instead of you doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good
Brainstorm with
point.
them and allow them to come up with the solution,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, and that's such a good way to overcome the people please, the not wanting to say no, because this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
inviting
Yeah.
them, to a conversation about it. You're not
Exactly.
saying no. You just
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm happy
Yeah.
to help you with a 15-minute conversation and really put timelines on things and then hold yourself to the timelines if
Mm.
that's a way to do it. You've got when you where did I learn that? Say what you mean what you say, and do what you said you're going to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very easy to say, but not as easy to implement because of the pleaser aspect, or I have to do it because if I don't do it, it's not going to be right. Is yours the only way? What's the opportunity that exists in to see what other ways people might approach it? You might learn something and gain, right? Yeah.
So true. So your work and your message is mostly for women in midlife,
Right. Hmm.
right? Why is that? What
Um,
happens for women at that stage?
it's a new phase. And for many, it's when things start changing dramatically in their lives. Their physical body changes with perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause. There's so much going on there. And family dynamics can change rather abruptly. Children leaving the nest, which we all want, because everybody wants kids to get out into the world and do what they need to do to find their way. But we're expecting it. But it's a grief because you lose something. You lose that identity
Mm-hmm.
because things need to change in motherhood when that happens,
Mm-hmm.
in order to keep the relationship really healthy, right? The last thing your kid wants you to do, I hope, is to come to the dorm room to make the bed every morning so that you can go to class, right? Like, no, mom, thanks anyway. I got this, right? But I don't know what's going on in your world. That's okay, mom. You don't want to know all the deets, right? So it's a really pivotal time. A lot of times, unfortunately, there's also changes in your relationship if you have a significant other. Sometimes it's like, who are you? Because we haven't spent time together the way we did when we first started. So there's all kinds of moving parts. And then soon, Sooner than later, retirement, another huge change in your world. What's going to happen in retirement, whatever that looks like, sounds like, feels like for you. So there's all these big changes. And I never want women to bottom out because of the changes. I want them to see the power that exists within them to be able to take what's happening in their world and step back from the noise and step into themselves in a way they've never been able to do before because they didn't have the time and space that they would now.
And that's exactly along the lines of what I was thinking for the next question. I, I'm seeing this tendency because I coach people in other people's programs as well. And I see women who are around midlife actually starting something, starting a business,
Yep.
but at the same time, and they're kind of in this place of also, investigating who they are, what they want to do,
Yeah.
you know. But for some of them, they feel that maybe it's too late.
Yep. Never too late.
Never too late. Talk to me about it.
Never too late. I see incredible things happening globally for people in 70s, 80s. I was coaching and supporting a woman who was transitioning from one um, workplace exterior where she was hired in to building her own business at 70, 75. I think she is. And she is perfect for the role of supporting those who are caregivers because she's seen and been involved in that at a level that only she can provide because she's had not only the experience, but also now the
Right.
training, right?
Exactly, such a good point. Like, I mean, who is better positioned,
Yeah.
because 20 years ago, you don't even have that experience.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So those two melded together, how empowering, not only for her finding her soul truth and what she loves to do, is all the pieces of her puzzle came together because it was time. And I
Wow.
believe in that. I believe in that wholeheartedly. And that's exterior talk, belief systems being dropped in and grabbed onto like little what do you call burrs? You know how burrs when you walk through the forest and they cling on? You have the power to take that off and flick it out, put it back in the forest where it belongs. So this idea of being too old doesn't exist. And you can find evidence everywhere that people are doing things that just are incredible in their 70s, 80s, 90s. I saw, you won't believe this, 104. A gentleman at 104, and it was a live video. He has learned archery, and he was in Las Vegas at an archery tournament. Did he think he was
Wow.
too old to learn archery?
Wow.
Absolutely not. You're never too old for anything that your heart desires. Really tune into your heart, though. Don't do it because other people said, oh, you're really good at that. If you get that niggling in your body, it doesn't sit right. Listen to that. Listen to that and uncover. I work a lot with women who are like, I don't know what my purpose is. Do you find that a lot? Do you, when you're speaking with women and men, I don't know my purpose.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because what we're doing is looking outside. What we want to do is uncover our soul work, not our purpose. Purpose is giving out again, right? Purpose is looking at
Especially,
outside.
and it's okay. So, especially when she has been a mother and
Mm.
now the kids left, everything changed. Maybe the career is towards the end.
Yep.
So, this is such a specific moment in life where it's like, okay, so what's next?
Yeah. And look at that through, ooh, I wonder what's next for me. Not what's next. Same
Exactly.
question. How do you come at it, right? Oh, what's next? What's going to come next? Oh, crap. Knitting. Okay, fine. Hey, I knit. And I do all kinds of other things too because knitting is a piece of what I kind of like, but I've steered away because it doesn't I don't walk and knit. I have to be active, right? So knitting worked a little bit for me, but nothing wrong with knitting. If your heart and soul is like I want to knit and I want to make, the little caps for newborns in ICU, like whatever you do,
Mm.
what brings your heart desire, right? Not
You
because you
know,
have to.
such a good point that, and what I'm noticing, and this is now, I'm speaking from the strategy point of view, right?
Sure.
As a marketer,
Yeah.
copywriter, whatever, I can say that you can monetize anything. Problem
Mhm.
is that people write off so many things because they don't believe, they don't know they can make money with
Yeah.
what they like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
That's where you come in,
Yeah,
right?
it's just about how you translate it. Yes, it's a bit of information, a bit of knowledge, a bit of skill,
Yeah.
but it's available.
And you have the capacity to do that learning.
Mm,
You've learned things all along your lifetime. When you think about, oh, I didn't know how to do that when I first started, you became expert at it. Everybody starts somewhere, and that's totally fine. The beautiful thing is nowadays, there are so many of us who are using our voice to get this information out that it's never too late. If it's something that's in your heart, it's something that's driving you, you can't sleep at night because you're excited about the idea of it. Oh, please explore.
mm.
Please explore, even if it's just little bits.
Yeah, the other thing that I'm noticing and it's just a nuance of what we've already said,
Hmm.
but women tend to, how will I phrase this? Not they don't know how much value they are
Hmm.
actually sitting on. They don't know how much expertise they have in many
Hmm.
areas and very simple, like very casual things. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, let's say it's just cleaning.
Yeah. Yeah.
I found this thing works well and I found that thing works well or whatever. Anything,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
So much expertise. People, women devalue their life experience. It's
Hmm.
an epidemic of it.
And it didn't source from us. It's the burr, right? We've been devalued externally. You're no
Mm-hmm.
longer needed in the workforce. It is middle age,
Mm,
I'm seeing it everywhere, ageism everywhere, because it needs to be unraveled and redone. Everybody's aging every day. But oh, you don't know IT. Oh my gosh. I was in a virtual workroom the other day, last Saturday. There's a gentleman in there who's 78 and he was spouting off all the stuff because he is all about tech. And we're in the room, we're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, this is what you do to change the microphone sound. And I've worked in this for like 30 plus years. It just rolls off of, and he says, I'm always learning. So I'm always getting, and we're just like, there's an example right there, people. We have so much knowledge to share and we just don't realize. I wonder if there's a gap. We don't realize what we know is such a value. So, how do we help women see? And I
mm,
think it's through conversation. Tell me about your day. Tell me what you learned. Tell me what you love to do, right? Um, and when you listen and have those types of conversations, it becomes more clear. I had a client once who loved candles, soaps, kind of thing. I think it was soap. And she remembers as a child going into stores where they had different soaps and the smells, and she's all about natural. Guess what happened? She started making soap.
mm.
She didn't realize that that was something she wanted to know what her purpose was. Through our conversations and our work together, now she makes soap for people.
And you might think, oh, there's all sorts of soap in the
Right?
world already.
Yes.
So, but then you tell your story, and suddenly it's not just another soap.
No, exactly. All
You
the
know?
organic, all the, she does all the scents herself, all the stuff, right? And her heart is on fire. She is so
Mm,
happy,
beautiful.
right?
For marketing purposes, that's the other thing that I'm noticing, and I want women to hear
Mm-hmm.
that when I when I work with people, coming up with hooks, with marketing messaging,
Mm-hmm.
I notice that people almost never, 90% of all the people, don't base it on their own story.
Mm-hmm.
And I ask, so how did you come up with this stuff? How did you
Mm-hmm.
discover this thing that worked for you? What? And then I'm like, oh, okay. And that's who my target market are. And that's why this is important. And
Yeah.
that's why it's different. And that's why it's valuable, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's so, yeah, everyone has so much value.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. And there's only one you in the world. And
Exactly.
know we say that, but people, when you really tune into that, there's only one of you in this world. And there is something within you that you get to become, build, massage, become compassionate about, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is an endless topic, Denise. I
I know, and I love it because there's
know
so
it's
much possibility, right? Yeah.
yeah, it's been an hour now. I don't know. It feels to me like we just got started.
I love it.
So much wisdom coming from you as well. So tell us what's cooking in your world? What are you up to? What are you
Sure.
planning? I know you're planning things. And, yeah, and where people can find you.
Absolutely. So my name, as long as you spell it properly, Denise Drinkwalter with an L in there. I'm on all like TikTok. Let me think. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn on my name. That was one of the things, when I was in different classes. What are you going to name? It's like I came down with my own name because I'm like, I don't know anymore. I don't know what do I want to be called. I'm going to call myself me. Hello, I do me. So you can find me on all the platforms there. Plus, my website is www.denisedrinkwalter.com. And you can find me on Thrive After 45, which is our podcast, which I love. We drop those every week. It's also on YouTube if you prefer the visual edition. And I am, there's two things that are in the queue right now. May 4th, I am having it's called a room of our own. And it is the safest space you can ever enter into in women in midlife years just to come and just be. If you don't want to talk, you don't have to talk. We just collect and gather in a private room. I don't record, I don't make notes. It's just a space to just be and have conversation. I sometimes have questions. We did one and it was so well received. I'm going to be trying to do them monthly in lead up to a big event that I am preparing and planning behind the scenes called Ignite the Inner Uprising, and that will be hosted in November of 2026. So I'm putting lots of things together behind
Also,
the
it's a
scenes
live
for
event.
that.
It's in-person
In
event.
person, in person. And the goal is to have up to 1,200 women in the room.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. And we're having it like I have 7 women who've been on my show throughout the last year who I just had a download basically and said, these are the women you need to ask. And every woman I asked said, yes, I want to be there with you. It's not a sit and get. It's like a Michelin star experience where you get to start to build and understand yourself from the inside out. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be a success, and I like if whoever is listening,
yeah.
pay attention to this and definitely
Mhm.
follow Denise. You
Yeah.
know, and her energy, your energy, Denise, it's like it pulls you in. Like it's I can tell that every single thing you say comes from the depth of your heart, like
Mm,
no doubt. Like I remember when I actually, do you remember when what I said? I connected with you first, and then I said I
yeah.
don't even know why I'm connecting. I said something like I don't even know. I'm not even sure what I'm expecting from you. Whatever, you know. I just connect.
That I'm gonna look it up because when I did my live today to tell people, come join us in the room, right? I'm gonna because I mentioned I didn't say exactly what you said, but it was one of those um yeah, not sure exactly the goal of DMing you. LOL.
All right.
I'm like, there's something behind that that I need to connect with. And here we are. I'm so glad you went with your intuition, that hit that you got. So, so grateful.
Me too. Me too. Thanks so much for this conversation. I am following your stuff as well, and I'm sure there will be more to talk about. There is more to talk about
Yeah.
as well,
Yeah.
so maybe we'll plan something else at
Perfect.
some point again. And
So
thank
great
you
to
so
be
much.
here. Thank you. Thank you for the reflection opportunity.
Yeah, of course. I mean, always, anytime.
Perfect.
Okay.
Have a great day.
And thanks everyone for listening or watching.